Good afternoon, folks. Today is 21 January 2019, and this is Marius Landman here with a Bitcoin update to our members. The first thing that we need to do before we get into Bitcoin is to have a look at the overall larger view of Bitcoin in the world. Now, many of you have seen this chart, but for the purposes of all the new people that have come on board in this week and in the last month, I'm going to present this chart again. Bitcoin started here way back in 2018 and went right up there to 2011 and 2012 to a high point of $11 or $12. When it hit that high point, the market retraced with 85%. Directly after that retrace, the market went parabolic upwards, right up to that level of about $250 Bitcoin. At that point on the high, Bitcoin retraced again with 84.51%. Directly after that, we had that parabolic move up to 2014, where Bitcoin went to $1,140. At that high point, within a period of 1 year, Bitcoin dropped again to 86.33%. If you invested $100,000 in 2014, you would have lost 86%. At that point, Bitcoin went up again parabolic here in 2018. Right there at that top, on 16 or 17 December 2017, Bitcoin hit a high point of 19,666. Just to retrace back, right there back to about $3,000, another 84% retracement. I want to bring your attention here. A retrace of 85%, a retrace of 84%, a retrace of 86%, a retrace of 84%. But this move here from 2014 right there to the top of 2018 was 12,000%. If you take that growth there and you go right down to that top there you go, 12,000% gains. We are now expecting Bitcoin to move sideways and have another parabolic move upwards of 15,000% in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Guys, it's going to make a lot of people debt-free. One of the main important things I want to bring your attention here, this is not financial advice, and this is for education purposes only. Now, if you were to invest $50,000 here, right there at the bottom, and the market goes up 15%, you have the probability to earn $7.5 million. What does it matter if it takes you 2 years to achieve that goal? What does it matter if it takes you 5 years to achieve that goal? And guys, we are going to show you how to make insane gains. Now, what I'm going to do is to focus on this chart here of 2018 to 2019, that whole entire year, and I'm going to get into that level there. Now, what you see on the chart here is the high point of 16 December 2017 at 19,666. The market retraced all the way down to 15 December 2018 to that low point there of 3,125. Isn't it interesting that that is exactly 1 year? The next year is going to look really good because we are right down there at the bottom. We're going to see a bit of sideways movement, and yeah, around about maybe in May, we are going to retest. And let me just draw that in for you and start with that. See that little green line there? It's coming. We're going to retest that low point of Bitcoin here again, but we do not believe that Bitcoin is going to go much lower. Now, I am going to zoom in on that section there. What I've done, I have pre-drawn in that little pink line there, touching that point there, touching the second point there of Bitcoin, and then touching that point there. And then the market is going to follow that trend line down there because that is a big resistance point. We could see that Bitcoin perhaps break through at that level there, but I'm going to zoom in and show you what happens on that level. Then I've got a secondary resistance line there that you can see very faintly. And then this dotted line is our primary resistance line of $4,000. The expansion of time, the delay in the price of Bitcoin is always going to happen right throughout the year of 2019. So we may as well just get used to it. What I mean with expansion of time is that at this specific point here, we expected Bitcoin to break through, and I'm going to show you what we saw could happen with Bitcoin. A little bit of a sideways movement here. It breaks through that $4,200 level. It gets a bit of resistance here. It then breaks upwards, a little bit of resistance, and then it hits a high point there at about 10 January of about $5,400. And keep that in mind, I'm going to leave that red line there. The expansion of time is something that happened here around about at 25 December, and I'm going to draw a green block to show you where the expansion of time happened. Now that, guys, is what we see as an expansion of time, and that is something that has been put in to process Bitcoin sideways, and in that sideways pattern is where people lose their minds. If we have a look at the Wall Street cheat sheet, this is arguably the high point of Bitcoin at 19,666, and it took a whole entire year to come down to the bottom. We are now between the stage of anger, depression, and disbelief, with a long dragged out price suppression, time expansion, where people get delusional, depressed, there's anger, there's disbelief, and that is when they start selling. There is complete and utter annihilation, and they sold, they sit on the sidelines. And I'm going to show you now why it's important that we do not sit on the sideline. One of the reasons that we don't want to sit on the sideline is, let's have a look at this factor here. Look at these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 days, Bitcoin went back upwards very, very quick. And the percentage gain that we had in Bitcoin was approximately about 31 or 32%. That means that altcoins in 5 days went up 60 and 70%. Maybe 100%. We had coins like Stratus that went up 220%. Now, this is how the markets move. In 5 days, the markets went up so much that people made insane profits. What if the markets here at this point takes 5 days to go up to that high point again? And let's move this algorithm line up here. What if the markets move up and perhaps reach it here by 3 February? What if it reaches it here by perhaps 29 January? What if it's 26? We do not know the exact point. And I'm going to give you an idea of where we expect over a time frame the market to move. Between the probably about 26 to about 9 February is where that high point could potentially be. Time expansion is something that will make you insane. So what I'm saying here, again, guys, we have to get used to that. One thing that is very certain that I can say to you is, here on 15 December, we made a call in one of our reports, and we said that Bitcoin is going to go upwards. And we said that we should hit that target of about 5,337 around about 10, 12, or 13 January. You can see that the expansion of time means that the market will still, in our opinion, hit that high point. As we go sideways, the price of Bitcoin is potentially going to come down. From that high level there of 5,337, we could now potentially look at about $5,000. The point being, the market is still moving upwards. At this specific point, if you look at that red line, which is the algorithm line, we expected that to play out. The market then went sideways, and then we expected the market to hit perhaps the high point here at about 17, 18, 19 January. Now let's leave this red line just there, which is the algorithm line. What I want to show you is something that is potentially going to happen here at the end. And the chart is going to get a little bit more complicated. There's going to be a lot of things on the chart, but just bear with me as we go through and put a lot more technical data on this chart. At this point here, we expect Bitcoin to go upwards and create a head and shoulders. We then expect it to go up there, come down here perhaps, go up there, and then come all the way down here in February. So keep that in mind as a probability. Again, we do not know where that high point exactly is going to be. It could be there, it could be slightly there, this could be a stronger move upwards. But at that point, when the market moves up, expect the market to have a lot of resistance at this point here, which is the $4,000 resistance. Once it breaks through there, our next resistance line is approximately at the $4,500 mark, and we then expect the market to break through to about $4,800 up to about $5,000. Now remember, this is the first scenario. There are two other scenarios that I want to bring to your attention. As we head up to that, we are going to have that head and shoulders. Okay, now let's just move that out to the side. The second scenario that I want to bring to your attention is this. There is a very big probability that we could have a multi-day uptrend, literally in the form of something like this, where the market will take multiple days, 4, 5, 6 days, similar to what is done on this left-hand side, to simply go up and reach our high target there at that level. Again, we are taking this green box as a potential date timeline where the market is going to hit that high. Time doesn't matter in Bitcoin. The high point is where we are heading to. And that high point is the point that we are looking for, because we want to buy low right there at the bottom, and we want to sell as high as possible and lock in profits. So now you've got two scenarios. One is the algorithm pattern, this red one, and the second one is that multi-day uptrend. Now there's a third probability that we could have, and that third probability is that we could potentially go sideways, but then have a strong vertical move upwards over a period of 1, 2, or 3 days, even breaking that $5,000 mark and then heading up to that level of $6,000. Now, one of the main things that I want to mention here to you is that we have two resistance lines. One resistance line is at 65592. The second resistance line is something that I want to show you here on the, and I'm now on the day chart, is exactly that line there. See that little capitulation event there, right down there at the bottom? That could potentially be the high point for Bitcoin. If we break through that high point, expect the markets to potentially go up to $6,000. And the reason I say this is because I'm going to show you where we need to sell. One of the first things that we need to remember before we start selling, and I'm going to give you a point, and let me just go here to the 4-hour chart. Now, it's very important that you understand this. My point where I would sell, if, and this is if the market drops, is at this level here of 3362. If the market drops below that level, I'm going to start selling 20% and right down here, right at the bottom at the 3125. And this is not something that we anticipate, but if it ever were to happen, in that band between these two pink lines is where we need to get out of the market. We can always catch an uptrend if that happens. But as I say, I don't foresee that. Let's have a look at the sell points as we head up into the higher levels. My first sell point will be at the level of 4711, right there at that point. Once Bitcoin reaches that level there, and remember that overhead resistance line is still far away. That resistance line actually shows a date of 15 February. If you look at that, if I pull my mouse over there, see there where they cross, that's about 15 February. So we don't anticipate to go that far, but between that green block here, we could have a high point before the market then starts turning backwards. But let's say, for example, if the market goes up here till the end of January, 30, 31 January, at that level there, when Bitcoin reaches 4711, I am out of the market. My next level there will be around about at the $4,800 mark. That is where I will sell another 10 or 20%. I am not going to be greedy. I take my profits. Because remember this, guys, the profit that we can make from where Bitcoin is right now as I do this video, right up to that point there, is approximately 40% gains. That means that altcoins could potentially make between 80 and 100% gains. When your altcoins reach a level of approximately 50 or 60%, you need to start exiting the market and taking those profits. My next exit line is going to be when Bitcoin reaches that 496 level or approximately 5,000. And then I will sell up till we start turning around and I would be out of the market with about 70 or 80% of my market, and then start selling as the market come down to have an average good profit. Now, this is the first scenario. What if the market has a spike and goes a parabolic and hits that $6,000 level? And this is very important that you actually understand what I'm going to show you here now. If the market for any other reason spikes upwards at 6,000 and it turns down, it's going to come down very quick if that happens. What you want to start doing is to sell there, and sell there. There is a probability that it can happen, a very low probability, but we need to take this into account. Now remember that this is a very big, that line there, it's a very, very big resistance line for Bitcoin. But that line there, right there at the top at 6.5, could also be a resistance. If Bitcoin breaks through this resistance line here, it could potentially come and test that top line, that pink line. But in our data, from what we see a line or an uptrend up to this level of approximately $5,000. Anything above that should be considered a bonus. Now, one of the things that I just want to mention to you, if we are going to go up into that uptrend, you want to be very, very careful. Not many people can do it. If you start selling here right at the top there, imagine this. Millions of other wallets are going to sell their cryptos and their Bitcoin, and those will most likely not be executed. So you will sit there and you will just see your profits dwindle. So remember this. This is why I say don't be greedy. Let's have a look at OMG, for example. OMG is a typical example. If you look at the top 40 crypto report, where we said that we expect OMG to go up to about 100%. Have a look at the top 40 crypto report. But I am going to take my profits as soon as I reach approximately 60%. That is where I start taking my profits. And the coins that I hold at the moment is Dash, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Once I reach a level of approximately 50%, that is where I'm starting to sell. Digibyte is nothing different. I'm going to do the same. XLM, exactly the same. Once I reach my level of 50%, I'm selling. Then I've got OMG there on the top. I've got EOS here. And with EOS, exactly the same, guys. As soon as I reach that level there is the high point in the report. But as soon as I hit the level of 50%, I'm starting to sell. I'm not waiting for that high point, because you want to sell in 10% increments. 10%, maybe 15%, maybe 20%, and you start selling upwards till you get out of the market. NEO is the same, and these are the cryptos that I hold. These are the 6 top cryptos that I believe are very secure and can make a very good profit. It does not mean that there are not other altcoins that can make insane profits. Have a look at the top 40 crypto report and follow those recommendations in there. And remember, that report is a guideline. With regard to this spike, remember, a spike like that can happen at any time. Let's have a look here at Bitfinex, and I'm going to take your attention to the 15th of October. At that spike, we saw that Bitcoin spiked 23% from nowhere. And it went up 23%. That means that altcoins could have potentially made about 50% gains. And that happened within a period of 4 hours where the market went up. Now, for those who want a little bit of extra technical data, have a look at that green box there and have a look at the green box here on the right-hand side. You can see that we almost follow the same pattern. And there is a big probability that we could have a spike like that if Bitcoin goes sideways a lot longer. So guys, keep in mind that we could have this algorithm line hitting that top. We don't know exactly where the top is, but what we see in the algorithm pattern is that we do have an uptrend. Stay in the market, but also stay cautious. But look, the point of this matter is, guys, is this. We are heading upwards, and we are looking for that spike somewhere in that green box. It's time to just be a little bit more patient. Patience is going to be the name of the game for 2019. The sideways action that we see here is going to repeat itself over and over and over again. One last thing before I finish this video, I want to focus on this area here, and I'm going to zoom in there quickly now. This area here is one of the most remarkable things that I have ever seen, and this lines up with our algorithm pattern. At this point here, the market dropped, and you can literally see here that Bitcoin formed a bearish pennant. Normally what would happen in a case like this is that the market would actually start breaking down as soon as it hits that level there and come straight away down there. But in this case, it didn't happen. What happened with the market is that it went down, up, there, and at that point there, it started breaking out. It's normal for the market then to come down and then break upwards. Now, this pattern for us is a very, very good indicator that the market is going to go upwards somewhere here. Now, remember what I said is that we could have a multi-day uptrend. It could look something like this, where we just simply have a multi-day spike upwards. Okay, it could easily happen like that. So those three scenarios is something that you need to take into account. A multi-day uptrend, or we could go a little bit more sideways and simply have a spike upwards and perhaps a little bit higher. And that spike could also be vertical, like what you saw on Bitfinex that happened in 15 October 2018. This is the end of the presentation. Have a fantastic week.